All right, now let's go over some problems about interval notation. I've just copied these down. You guys can see my absolutely beautiful handwriting. So the first one here, we're going to take this inequality and express it in interval notation, and then we're going to also graph it on the real number line. Okay, so in interval notation, this interval starts at -1, and it does include -1, because if we plug in -1 for x here, this inequality will be satisfied. -1 is less than or equal to -1, and also less than 2. So when we want to include the number on one side of the interval, we use the square bracket. And then the other end is 2. But we cannot include 2 in the interval, because if I plug in 2 here for x, this inequality will not be satisfied because 2 is not less than 2. So when I don't want to include the number, I use the round parenthesis. And the way I remember the round or the square is just that I imagine the claw machine. You know, the claw machine where you try to pick up little stuffed animals. And I think, to me, this one looks like the better claw if it was coming down from above, you know, like, and this looks like a worse claw. So I think this one can pick up the -1 number like a little stuffed animal, but this one will drop the 2. Okay, that's just my way of remembering. You can come up with your own way. So for graphing on the real number line, this is like the really lazy way, just label only from one end to the other. So let's see, I'm going to need 0 and 1 in here, I guess. And then I'm going to color in everything between -1 and 2, and I want to do a filled circle on the end that is included, so I am including -1, and I'm going to do an open circle on 2 because I don't want to include 2. And then I'm just going to shade in between really quick, like this. Okay, number 2. So for this one, we're starting at -infinity. So for your inequality, you could do it like this, and then you just have to ask yourself, like, do I want to put the line under these? So this square bracket means I do want to include 4, so I need to put the line, so I make sure that if I plug in 4 here for x, it will satisfy this inequality. We always put the parenthesis around infinity when it's one end of the interval, because infinity is not actually a real number, so even if you invite infinity to the party, it will not show up. It's not on this line anywhere. You can't find it. So you can put an inequality like this where you've got infinity is less than x, or you can even put them like this. It doesn't really matter because x would never be able to equal infinity anyway. But in fact, you can actually just leave this whole part off, because just like I just said, x can't be infinity anyway. Every x value is, oops, I should have actually put -infinity over here. I'm so sorry. Like this would have made sense. But every real number is greater than -infinity, even if you don't ask it to be. So like you don't actually need this part at all. You can just leave it off. Or you can put it on. It doesn't really matter. At least for my classes, I don't care. Maybe some other professor cares, but so you can put that in or not put that in. I'll just leave it over here as like an alternative solution. Either way would be okay with me. Then when you go to graph this thing, so you need 4 in here, obviously, and there's no other endpoint. But you are going to include 4, so you're going to do the filled dot, and then you're just going to take everything below that. So just color all the way to your arrow over here, and you can color the little arrowhead too if you want. Okay, for the last one, we have a similar situation. We're only given the one-sided inequality. So when x is greater than 3, that means x could be really, really, really big, like 10,000, a million, 10 million, 10 billion. So anything all the way going up to infinity will satisfy that inequality. So that means 3 is going to be one end, and then infinity is going to be the other end. And I'm using the round bracket for each of them because 3 does not satisfy this inequality. And I need to use infinity for the other end because I can put in numbers to this inequality that go bigger and bigger and bigger all the way to infinity. Okay, and then for my real number line, same as the last one, I'm just going to label 3. I'm not including it but I am including everything bigger than that. Maybe if you weren't sure to put infinity here, I hope you could at least draw the picture because it does say greater than 3, so you'd know it was the right side. And then you might realize, oh, it's going off to infinity, so like infinity is the other endpoint. Okay, that's it.